I just casually broke the world record by a full second. Okay, 0.99 seconds. But I didn't do this by myself. 7 months ago, I asked you guys to submit your best solution to this Rubik's Cube Scramble. And since then, I've received over 400 solutions to the Scramble on the CubeLogger Discord server. So I took the time to fully analyze 100 of them at IKEA. This took more than 10 hours. I'm gonna cover all of the interesting stuff that I found into this video. And there's also a bonus because I asked Max Spark and Timon Kolasinski, literally the best cubers of the world, to do a solve on the same Scramble. And it turned out to be insanely interesting, as you will see later in the video. But before we do that, I'm releasing a Cube song at 500,000 subscribers. So if you could quickly smack that subscribe button, thank you. So here is the Scramble everyone solved. It was part of an I Try Your Best Scrambles video, and the Scramble has crazy potential because of this big block right here. Because this block was so obvious, I thought it would be interesting to see how different people approach it. And people approached it in so many different ways. Let's start off with the different methods used. 83 out of 100 people, so almost everyone, used CFOP. Now CFOP is the most popular speed cube method used by almost all top cubers, and it follows these simple steps: building a cross, finishing the first 2 layers, or F2L, by inserting 4 pairs on each side of the cross. And finally solving the last layer in 2 steps using pre-memorized algorithms. Now secondly, 6 people out of the 100 used Roux. It figures because Roux is the second most used speed cube method. It is known for its efficiency. With Roux you start by creating 2 big blocks on the left and the right side of the cube, and then finish off the rest using pre-memorized algorithms once again. And 5 people out of the 100 used the beginner's method, and the name suggests what it is. It is usually a simplified version of CFOP where you solve piece by piece. It is higher in move count, but hey, you gotta start somewhere, right? 4 people used FMC techniques. FMC stands for Fewest Moves Challenge. It is an official WCA event that involves a bunch of crazy techniques that I know nothing about, but the goal is to solve a cube in the least amount of moves possible. Might be interesting. And then finally, the last 2 people did something I didn't really understand. Since CFOP was clearly dominant, I looked for some more specific techniques. There were 3 more advanced techniques people used. First of all, there's something called an X cross. With an X cross, you build your cross and your first F2L pair simultaneously. Out of the 83 people that used CFOP, 20 people did an X cross. Now, a double X cross is the same as an X cross, but building, you can guess it, 2 pairs at the same time. 9 people did this. A triple X cross, which is building 3 pairs together with your cross, was being done by 6 people. Now, one way to build an X cross is by using something called free FOP, where you build your first 2 layers without finishing the cross first. 12 people did free FOP. And finally, 5 people used something called pseudo F2L. Now, all you need to know about this technique is that it is super advanced and you build your F2L without aligning your first 2 layers. This may be a lot of information, but it will be very interesting when we get to the awards part. But let's first talk about some stats. The average move count for all the solutions was 52 moves. However, this number includes a guy who used 20 J-perms to solve the cube, so let's take a look at each method separately. The average move count for the CFOP solvers was 49 moves. But here's the interesting thing, the ones that used an X cross, the average move count was 44. For the people that used a double X cross, it becomes 45. But for the triple X cross, 38. Really close to that are the free FOP solutions with 41. And now for the most advanced technique, pseudo F2L, the number is 50.4. Quite a bummer for an advanced method, no? Now, as a cuber, you know that the last layer algorithms take up a lot of moves. And we usually don't have much control over the cases we get. But the amount of moves for the F2L for each case has about the exact same ratio as the total move count. Because as you see, the method used doesn't have a lot of influence on the amount of last layer moves. Now, I don't think we have enough Roux solves, but the average move count is 44. 34 for the 4 people that did FMC. And obviously on the last place, we have beginner's method with 83 moves. But now enough talking about numbers, let's see what people actually did. First off, how did they start their solves? The most interesting thing about the way people started their solves was that no one from the 100 people started with a cross color different from yellow, green or white. Everyone chose one of those 3. Not even someone joked about starting with a different color. The most used cross color by far was green, with 54 people starting on that side. And this was the most common start. So the reason that people went for green was because we have this big block right here. But we also have a very obvious pair in the top. Most people started by inserting that pair on the left side. The second most way was doing the same but from the back. which is better in my opinion. We also have one guy who inserted the pair into the front, which might be best as you will see later. Now a big reason why people inserted this pair first is because when you do so, another pair gets formed into the top layer, which you can insert right away. This way you have 3 pairs solved, but the cross is not finished yet. So it speaks for itself that this was the most used start for FreeFop users. The most used green start without doing FreeFop was this one. It is simply hiding the block, taking out the cross edge and inserting it, which made an X cross. If you add just one move to that solution, we can actually take out this pair as well and preserve it. Just like so. Another common way to make an X cross on green was by using D moves. If you put the block into the top and then use D moves to finish up the cross, you will actually preserve the block as well as a pair. It is very fast. The second most used cross color was yellow. 21 people started with the yellow cross, which turned out to be less good than the green cross. On the top we mostly see green solutions. Now the most common start for yellow cross was aligning the orange cross piece to blue and then inserting that piece using B moves, which is better than doing the same thing with lefty moves into the front, which was done second most. And finally 16 people went for the white cross, which may be that some people just weren't color neutral. The most common white cross start was also the most obvious one. It's just solving the orange piece and using the D layer to align the cross again. Interesting enough, the people who decided to do pseudo F12 started off in the same way, but they didn't align the D layer at the end. Now after the start, most people did a totally different solution. However, I have seen some people who got the exact same solution. Sen and Relasi, Lost and Rishant Agarwal, Blue Ninja and Oxo Krumwal, Pool and AI Cube, and finally Barras and Finn. Before we move on and see how the best cubers in the world did their solution, I'm gonna hand out some well-deserved awards. The first award is for my kindred spirit. The most similar solution as I would do goes to CFOP Cubing. What CFOP Cubing did that I would do as well is just ignoring the green block for now and inserting the pair into the back. During inspection I noticed that another pair will get formed into the front and we can actually insert it with a little trick. Now we only have to solve one more pair and we're gonna ignore the cross piece for now because it will get taken out. Since we did FreeFop, we need to insert the last cross piece at the end, which I would do with a rotation. And then we just have OLL and PLL, which I obviously wouldn't predict. And that's how I and CFOP Cubing apparently would solve this scramble. Now a really impressive award goes to the one with the least moves, which is for Ito Pellet. Banana. Remember that for Ru we're making 2 big blocks. We already have the small green block in the back left, and by doing an F move we have a small block in the right. If you then do these 2 moves, you form another pair which you can attach to the left block. But before doing that he did another 2 moves, which fully completes the right block, and then we can just finish the left block. If you don't understand how he did this, don't worry, I do not know either. He then fully rotated the cube, put the left block down, and did a CMLL algorithm, which stands for corners of last layer. Then he did an LSE algorithm, which is last 6 edges, and it's very short, goes like so, and bam, the cube is solved in just 21 moves. That's insane! Karduk wins the prize for the most creative solution. I mean, even the guy below him was really impressed. We actually have one of the rare guys who chose to solve the white cross. He did it in the most basic way, but he didn't align his cross. Do you know what that means? He's gonna do pseudo F12. He does these mysterious moves, which I do not understand a single thing from, and suddenly he has bam, a pseudo pair. This way he set up the next 2 pseudo pairs in a really easy way. It's really difficult to follow if you're not used to it, but at this point he has 3 pseudo pairs solved and he only needs to solve his last one, which is really straightforward. And this way he solved this entire F2L with just the down layer misaligned. And the most crazy part of all is that if he does OLL right now, what? PLL skip? And this way the entire solve is just 43 moves. My man Philip over here got the award for the weirdest solution. I'm quickly going over this one because it isn't great and I don't really know what he's doing, because these first 3 moves, I don't know what that did. He then did a rotation, did a bunch of L moves, rotated back, B moves, D moves, YD moves, you say it, and bam, we have a green X cross on the left all of a sudden. Then my man starts spamming RU moves, throws in some F and M moves, and bam, suddenly we switched colors and our yellow is done. Then we have this dot case, which is horrible, but he cancelled one move, so calls it a one look last layer. Okay. Great solution. Best X-Cross is for stealthy. You know you did something impressive when you get 15 of these reactions. Now, in my opinion, the best side to start with for an X-Cross is the green side. He inserted the free pair into the back. Nothing new, we've seen this before, but now watch what happens. He rotates and found a really good way to solve the third pair and the cross piece at the same time. This way he lined up the cross piece with the pair and did an F2. Before solving the yellow cross piece again, he did a U prime so that he can go straight to his last pair. At this point, my man does a CBLL, obviously because he's a genius. Bam. Just to show you how good this X-Cross is, this was me making a triple X-Cross in 1 second. Normally we're not awarding solutions with a lot of moves, but this deleted user, rest in peace, found a really creative way to do so. He did this by only doing setup moves in J-perms. Now this is actually really boring, so let's just skip to the end. Now this is one way to waste 283 moves and a lot of my time for counting them all. Now before I'm gonna hand out the award for the best solution, we're gonna see what the fastest cubers on earth did with the Scramble. I asked them both to do a normal solve, so why not let them battle? That was close, but MaxSpark won this one by half a second. That's why we're gonna take a look at his solution first. You're looking at 12 turns per second, so we need to take a better look for sure. MaxSpark is gonna do yellow cross and preserving this corner and this edge. Is Max gonna do pseudo F2L? He aligns the blue cross piece in the simplest way possible, does a D2 and just sledges in the last cross piece. I mean, this is beginner type cross, right? But he did preserve the edge and the corner that I talked about earlier. Now he does a wide U move so that he can easily set up the next pseudo F2L pair. You see this guy right here? That's our pseudo F2L pair. He avoids the rotation by doing a wide D move and just inserting the pair, aligning the cross again, and we have a double X cross. He then does the front right pair, which he can do like so. And he goes straight to the last pair, which is actually a horrible case, but hey, what are you gonna do? He then has a nice OLL, which is just a wide soon. And now he does a V-perm algorithm, which I've never seen before. I actually needed to check this one. It goes like so. No, it doesn't. It is doing 2 rotations, an X and a Y rotation. And then he does AUF with his thumb, I suppose, like so. And yeah, sub 5 solve. Now guys, I'm going to go straight to TYMON'S solution because this is just ridiculous. Not just the 11 TPS solve, but something else. He's gonna start off with the exact same mindset as MaxSpark, which is doing yellow cross and making a pseudo pair from the already solved edge and corner. The way he starts the solve is different though. He's gonna hold yellow in front and do a wide R prime. This way you can actually avoid a rotation. Straight afterwards he does a wide U move, so we can sledge in the last cross piece. By doing this he took out this edge, but he was fully aware of that, because he's gonna work with it during his pseudo F12. He does a wide D move to avoid a rotation, solves this corner and edge into the back, and cancels into solving that edge again. He aligns the cross again and he has a double X cross onto the right. Now he has this F2L case onto the left. Who had this F2L case before? And for his last pair, he got the same case that MaxSpark got for his last pair. He solves that with a sledge and he gets a fat soon OLL. But he does it in a way that I've never seen before. And then finally we finish off with a G-perm. Now guys, I want to talk about something that I just cannot fathom. MaxSpark and TYMON saw the exact same thing in the solution, doing yellow cross and doing pseudo F2L with the same corner and edge. They both coincidentally sledged their last cross piece, both did a wide D and U move to avoid the rotation, both got the same F2L case for the third and the fourth pair, both got a fat soon OLL, and guys, I cannot make this stuff up. They got the exact same amount of moves. What is this coincidence? They did a totally different solution, but the stats are almost fully the same. But here's the craziest thing out of all. Their thought process of making a pseudo F12 pair from the edge and corner on the yellow side, out of the 100 solutions that I analyzed, only one person had the same approach. Congrats, Mr. Dude66. You have the same thought process as the best cubers in the world. It's funny to think that their solutions were so smart, yet they weren't even good comparing to the rest of the solutions out there. And that shows that sometimes doing the straightforward thing is the better thing to do. As we will see for our final award. After analyzing more than 100 solutions, the best solution out of all of them goes to who? the one that asked. He is only third in the list of fewest moves, but his solution is straightforward yet so fast. And that's why out of all of the solutions, I could do this one way faster than any other. How did he do it? Well, it's actually really easy. He once again is not gonna touch the block, but what he did do different than most people is insert the first pair into the front, so that afterwards he can go straight to the next pair. He then rotates and does the last pair. Up to this point, it was really straightforward, and a lot of people figured out this kind of solution, including myself. But what he does now, oh boy. To insert the last cross edge, he does an S move and puts the edge into the back. Now our man notices something. He notices that the pieces are set up in the exact same way as a Suzane, one of the fastest algorithms. So he does these 7 moves, and if you just align the cross again, you have solved this scramble in the fastest way possible. The cube that I used for this video is the NinjOwO Cube Deluxe, and it's my favorite cube out of all of the cubes out there. You can find it on thecubicle.com together with a bunch of other products, and if you do decide to buy something, please use discount code CUBET for a huge discount. Thanks for watching, and once again, CubeSong at 500,000 subscribers.